Okay, hello everybody, and welcome once again to another Lou's Ride. This time we're going around the magic road of Kielder. It's a route I've not done before, so I'm quite looking forward to this. You can see from the profile it's pretty flat, so shouldn't be any problem with the hills. A couple of rises in it, but nothing that's going to cause any issues. And today I don't think I'll be riding with the front group. I'm just going to have a relaxing ride. We've got a bit of a birthday party going on afterwards, so I'll do the ride, have a shower, and have a relaxing evening. Whereas I think if I was racing, I'd probably want to fall asleep. Oh, it's nice to see all the usual crew here. Got Paul Douglas, Kate, and quite a few others I've seen in the rider list, and this looks like a good turnout as well. Really enjoyed yesterday's ride, so they've got a good thing going here as Team Lou. Really very good group rides, very good riding, very good way that they look after the riders. I mean, I rode in Group 1 yesterday, but I do know that the groups behind were well looked after. Oh. Legs are feeling good again um, after having a little bit of illness and really being under the weather. Hi, Paul. Thanks for the shout out. Yeah, it's good to be back. I'm feeling I'm feeling a lot better, but I have to do some more riding because I lost a lot of fitness. So let's see what happens today. I'm hoping I can find a nice pace, probably with Lou. We'll see. Turn on a couple of fans, I think. I've got one running in the background, but let's have that one on. There. Cool. Yeah, as Lou says, the climbs today are only short and they're gradual, they're not really steep. You can see there's no red, there's a little bit of orange, but there's no red in the profile. Okay, let's see who's around me. Oh, Douglas just behind me. So I'll ride with him for a while. There he is. No, he's I'm going to drop back slightly, see if I can well, this is a nice pace. This feels comfortable. Uh-oh. And there's the group behind. We got Beth in there, we got Paul. Like Ruth as well. So I'm just going to drop back and join them. And Lou's a little bit further back, so we'll just drop back and have a look and see where Lou is. Not there yet. I can just see Kate. Kate's in this little group. Sat there on the back. She's obviously having a recovery ride today. And there's Lou's group. At least I hope it's Lou's group. Can't see his name, but there's quite a few riders in here, so that's probably why I can't see his name. Okay, I'm going to go back to myself, because I've been joined now by Paul's group, so I don't want to miss them, I want to stay with them. There he is, giving me a wave. Obviously listening. Let's pick up the text and see what's happening. Yeah, this is a nice place. New people in the middle of the groups. There's Lou. Don't they all look nice in the Lou kit? I decided to wear my own Team 3R kit today because I thought I do need to be promoting Team 3R, so I wore Lou's kit yesterday. And I just thought it was fair to wear my own today. Back to me. And our little group may well come together. Lou 300 metres behind now, we may come together or may decide to stay at the pace they are, and I might decide to drop back. See how we feel. We're only 5 minutes in. I'm already too warm though. Put another fan on. There we go. Now I'm using NVIDIA Broadcast to take out the extraneous noise like fans and background clicking. So this will be a good test to see if it's working. See if it's actually cutting it out, because I've been having issues with my setup the last few weeks. Gradually tweaking it, gradually sorting it. So we'll see how it's going. And that's the thing about streaming, folks. Some people are happy just to get a camera, get on the bike, and that's all they need to do. But I'm a little bit more, you know, I'm always tweaking, I'm always wanting to change things around to try and improve the viewer experience, so to speak. So that's why I have the little slideshow going that tells you when we're starting. Then you've got the interface during the ride with the ticker going on the bottom to tell people what's going on should the late join. And then at the end of the ride, I've added a lovely raining video, which I think is quite nice, on the thanks for watching screen. So check that out if you haven't seen it. So all in all, I'm just looking to just make the broadcast a little bit more, well, professional, so to speak. Always improving the audio, or always trying to improve the audio. I'm running at 60 frames a second, which is about optimal. You don't need anything more than that for YouTube. But truth is, you don't need 60 for YouTube, but makes it look smooth. And I record in full HD, so the videos can be watched back in full HD. You don't have to watch them in 30 or 720, unless you're on a mobile device, of course, then you've not much choice. But and then, of course, tomorrow I'm back covering the CTT 10-mile time trial. I cover that every week. My friend Rob Stone usually takes the win there. So I hope we have a good turnout tomorrow for that ride. And I'll be live streaming it. I'm a full editor for GT. Thank you, Paul. I'm just trying to improve the experience, not just for all you users out there, but for myself as well. I put a lot of time and effort in, and when it works, it's quite good. But as you always do when you start something new, you're always going to have glitches, and I've had my fair share. At one point, I ended up having to completely remove Windows 10 because it was just so corrupt with the different drivers I'd been trying out. And although you try to uninstall them, they're never completely removed. So I ended up having to wipe the system and start from scratch. Pace has picked up, folks. Not sure Lou's going to be catching us with this increased pace. Let's see what happens. In fact, we'll tab back and have a look where there's Lou. So he's in between. Got a small group behind him, so there we are. Shall we have a look and see what's happening up front? There you go. This is a group I rode with yesterday. Well, some of them. They're really pushing the pace out. And the only way I was able to stay with them yesterday was through clever use of my drafting technique. So let's page down through them and see who's there. All the usual suspects and a few more. Check out who's behind them. Mr. Owen in the middle somewhere, riding on his own at the moment. He needs to either drop back to this group. Nice chasing group. That's what I'd be doing, I think. Ah, Mr. Klopp's wearing my team kit. Well done, Mr. Klopp. Nice to see you. Thanks for supporting the team. There's a good few groups on the road. This is us, of course. Although I'm falling off the back. That often happens, folks, when I'm concentrating on other aspects of the feed, like switching through groups and switching riders. I often inadvertently ease up, and sometimes I'm even shot out the back and I don't get back to the group I'm riding with. Something you've got to be mindful of if you're riding and commentating. Not a problem today because we're riding at a nice pace. Well, I say that the pace has gone up, but still comfortable. If I can talk, you know I'm comfortable. Swing out a bit so you can see the whole group. Check on who's behind again. And a few people joining up with Lou again. Nice to see Kate taking a recovery day. 29 days now until she rides across America. Virtually, but still doing the full route. We're going to be following her as much as we can. There she is. So you can see from the figures she's putting out, she's just in relax mode. Sensible riding, because we had a pretty tough day yesterday. It was quite a fast pace. Certainly the last lap was anyway. Okay, let's get back to me, and there I am again at the back. Now you see what I mean, folks, about if I leave and join other groups for too long, I end up being shelved. I'll just pull back into the group. What a difference a week makes, though. A week ago, I'd just come off the back of the flu, and I really felt grotty. Whereas I'm feeling pretty good now. I always suffer with my breathing. For those that don't know my story, I only have one lung, lost the other to cancer. So that's why you hear me heavy breathing even when I'm not really working hard. Sometimes I just can't get enough air in. If you're having saddle sores, saddle problems, anybody, I can give you a really good tip. And this is from a man that spends, or used to spend, 24 hours and more in the saddle in one go without getting off the bike. So I know what I'm talking about. I haven't had saddle sores for a long time now. And that's because I hardened up my butt. And the main way I managed to do that was through using white vinegar. Yeah, I know it sounds awful, doesn't it? But it does actually work. Wipe your private parts and your bum with white vinegar and it'll sting like bloody crazy. But it turns it into leather after a while. You wipe down before and after every ride, trust me, your skin will take on the texture of leather. Not what you want if you're just casually riding, but if you're going to be doing serious endurance riding, which I was, it works. And it might sound extreme, but it really does work. The best treatment I've found, I've tried all the creams, which incidentally, if you want a cream that works and doesn't cost silly money, and when I say works, it works fantastically well, then get the baby bum cream, what they call it, all the popular stuff in the big tub. It'll come to me. It's what they use for nappy rash. And if it's good enough for babies, it's good enough for us. So this is one of the hills. 2.3%. So you feel it. You definitely feel the change on my trainer. And that's the reason I've gone to the front, because I'm quite strong on the hills, even without trying. Plus I'm lightweight. I think I'm about 60 kilos at the moment after the illness. So normally I'm around 63. I lost a bit of weight. So I'm not trying to ride away from my group. I'm just keeping a nice, what is nice and comfortable for me going up the hill. And that's a key to riding, folks. Don't be too keen to adjust your pace to always stay with others. Sometimes it's more beneficial to ride at a pace you're comfortable with. And if the heavier riders leave you on the downhill, don't worry about it. The heavier riders fall behind on the uphill, don't worry about it. It'll soon come back together, as you can see here. What's more important is that you keep a nice steady cadence that you're comfortable with. More about your comfort than it is the riders around you, especially if you're in training for an event. And people like Kate know that only too well. And she's got some good people around her, advising her, training her. I've no doubt she'll absolutely crush the ride across America. Or the Trans-Atlantic, is it the Trans-America Bike Race, TABR, virtual version of it. And that's all down to COVID, which is like put a kibosh on a lot of rides that would normally be taking place, and I'd be out on the real roads now if not for COVID. But here in the Netherlands, we've been locked down for quite a while now, and we're still in lockdown. There's still a curfew in the evenings, but we've had it particularly bad over the last few months. High rate of infections. And the Dutch government, I think, have been pretty good at handling it. They started to open things up a bit now, but they're still being very cautious. Yeah, I'll watch the gyro later, folks. What a nice group this. Nice pace for today. Okay, let's have a look and see what's happening further back in the field. Oh, there's Kate. So she's left the small group she was with. Only just, there they are behind them. So they're all going to come back together. They're still on the, just cresting the climb now that we went up. So they'll all come back together, I'm sure. Just like we did. But we are a good way in front of them now. We're 2.5 kilometres in front, so they're not gonna catch it. Well, they're not even trying. We're riding at a completely different pace to them. The Chablis, I can't remember my first race. It was so long ago. Yeah, okay. More than 40 years for me. And I've raced everything from mountain bikes to cyclocross to road races to track. So, whoops, I'm falling behind. Come on. And incidentally, fun fact, because I didn't have a bike or a helmet, I had to hire them at Manchester Velodrome. And my first ever track race, I won. It was a scratch race. And because I looked like a complete dickhead in the puffy helmet and on the rented bike, nobody paid me any mind when I shot off the front. and I quickly got a laugh on the group, and they never caught me. They just totally underestimated me because of the way I looked. Didn't look like a racer at all. It's one of my funniest memories of cycling, that. How shocked everybody was. And when I became a professional photographer, I used to go across and get into the inner ring at Manchester and photograph the races and events. Good times back then. You're looking good, Paul. Nice and strong. Just put the inside line on the bend there. Just practicing. Can't wait to start racing again because I think I've learned so much from the different drafting technique rides I've been on. Watching James's racecraft clinic as well. Well, I cover the event, so I record it. I can go back and watch the videos over and over. But knowing when to just put in a little bit of extra effort to get the line. Like here, you see where I put in the effort and it sort of like put me towards the curb side. The only thing I do wish that RGT would do is where in the top right corner where you can see it shows the distance remaining and climbed, it shows you the course profile again The course profile's on the bottom, but it shows you a line, a white line, shows you where the flag is. That's totally redundant if you've got the profile on the bottom on. And what would be better in that space is a mini map to show you what's coming up, to show you the bends coming up, and just an overhead mini map would be fantastic. Definitely for racing, but even for learning drafting on this lot, would make it so much easier if you knew what was coming up. Now with spectate mode, you can always zoom out and you get a better idea of what's coming up. But that sort of spoils it for the viewer. I like to be close in like this so that the viewers can watch the drafting and different dynamics of the ride going on. London, Edinburgh, London. Wow, that's a heck of a ride. Good old that. Not done that one, but I have done Le Jog in 5 days, which is pretty hardcore. Coming up to the next hill on the short, but This has definitely gone up, that's for sure. Definitely working harder now. Here we go. On the climb. Second now. Okay, that's the crest. There's Lou's group. They're 4.5 kilometres behind us. But you can see going at a nice steady pace. Riders at the back are coming back to us. Good. Let's split up this group. We all want to stay together. With a mini hill. Okay, losing the group behind, so I'm just going to ease up a little. I have no wish to split this group, so although looking at the pace they're putting out, I don't know. Maybe there's an issue. I don't. Seems fairly strange. Let's spin the camera around and have a look. Yeah, they're a good way back. I wonder what the problem is. We were pushing up the pace fairly significantly, so perhaps people have just decided, okay, going to peg it back. Although looking at the pace they're doing now, looks like they're charging. Maybe they stopped for a comfort break. I better put my power on because they're going to come straight past me if not. Better. All back together. Nice. Like I say, when you're in a group ride like this, you really don't want to see a group that's worked so well together. And I don't know how many of there is, about 10 of us here. And I'd hate to see like a couple of riders getting dropped. Because everybody's done the bit here. Okay, next climb. This is when I really come alive cycling. I love climbing. Back in the day, when I used to do the chain gangs and things, and my training partners were Paul Dixon, Matthew Armitage, and a few others, elite level cyclists basically. I could never keep up with them on the flat and on the downhills if they decided to take off. I could draft quite well and stay with them, but I could never do through and off like they were doing. Just was never strong enough, even back then. But then when we got to the hills, they couldn't stay with me. I could drop elite level climbers on the hills. I was that good a climber. Nowhere near that level these days, but you never lose your endurance. That's one thing I will tell people. You can have a break from cycling. You can suffer like I did with illness and I fractured my hip, damaged my knee. Took a long time to get back, but I never lost my endurance. Yes, I lost my fitness, but not the endurance. I could get on a bike tomorrow and ride 24 hours at this pace easily, without a doubt. And it's always good to have that in the bank. Gives you a lot of confidence. Not much use when you're racing and you got people dropping you, and that's happened to me a lot. I'm just getting to the point, or I was before this latest bout of flu, I was just getting to the point where I could compete a couple of top tens, but I was getting there. And that's my aim for this year. By the end of this year, I want to be competitive at the front end of races. But I'm not rushing it. I'm too long in the tooth and too old to make that mistake. Take my time, build up my fitness again, then start doing some interval work to work on the top end. But rides like this are perfect. Certainly after what we did yesterday, which was, for me, quite taxing. A ride like this the following day, just over an hour it's going to be, about an hour and 10, maybe hour and 15. It's perfect. Which is why I don't want to see this group splitting up. Fantastic riding with these folks. Although it does look like there is a split. Yeah, we've lost a couple. Hopefully they can get back on. Oh, they look to be a fair way back. Paul's 100 metres back. Let's see what he's saying, because he just messaged. I will ride with you, Andy. So he's deliberately dropped back. That explains it, because he's too strong not to stay with us if he wanted to. So kudos to you, Paul, for dropping back and helping others. That's great team spirit, mate. Well done. Yeah, I really need to put a battery in my heart rate monitor and start wearing it. Start checking my heart rate. Now that I'm back in training. Loving this ride. Check up on Lou. You know what he's doing. There's Paul riding with Andy. Well done. These two have been riding together for a good while. Well done, Mr. Ryan and Flockton. And there's Lou and Kate. Kate leading them out. all looking resplendent in the Team Blue kit. Here we are back with me and our little group. So to those that want a similar kind of group ride, Team 3R run group rides at 7 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock European time, 8 PM on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Really good rides. We've got bots for those that don't want to stay with the groups, but the group usually, you know, a hardcore of us stay together. Usually a lot of really good banter, and it's very community driven. We really look after us riders. I mean, we've usually got Rob Stone with us, who's a very, very strong rider, but he takes his time to look after other riders. So I'd heartily recommend check out the rides. I'm usually leading them, but sometimes Luke Jeffries will lead them when I'm not about. And then on Fridays, I run a ride called the Launchpad, which is basically a beginner's recovery or just a relaxing ride. And it's anything from 30 minutes to an hour long, depending on what people want. We do the first 15 minutes at 1 watt kilo, and that's why it's aimed at newcomers as well as those recovering from injury. So we do the first 15 minutes at 1 watt kilo, the next 15 minutes at 1.5, and then we decide what people want. So it's never down to me, it's always down to what the group I'm with want to do. Now, we're only just starting these rides. We did the second one last Friday, so it would be really nice if you could turn up and support them. You know, if you need a rest day, come and ride the ride, because we certainly don't push the pace up. There's nobody racing them. There's Mike. Hi, Mike. This is the biggest of the hills. Notice how I'm never in a rush when we start the hill to get to the front, because I generally know that my momentum will keep me towards the front end anyway, and quite often off the front end. So I never actually try to jump off the front. If it happens, it happens. And I never panic if I'm at the back as well. But we are pushing the pace up here. quite significantly. Maybe because we're getting so close to the finish. And another technique that I use is to go on ahead, and you can hear me having trouble with my breathing. So I use this technique to go on ahead like this, and then I can recover more as we get to the crest, get my breath back. And I do that a lot. So I'm really heavy breathing now. That's hard work. Look how easily I'm dropped on the downhills. That's the disadvantage of being such a lightweight. It's not unfair. Well, this is a tough catch. We want kilos just to try and catch them, which we've done. I didn't expect this. They're definitely racing to the finish, that's for sure. Well, perhaps not racing, but certainly upping the pace. Yeah, they definitely raced it at the end. Brought me out a bit. Well, thanks everybody. Really enjoyed that. 1:11, I'll settle for that. Expected about 1:15, so. Okay. Let's we go. If you haven't already, folks, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're not a subscriber, why not? Subscribe and there'll be lots more videos like this. Tomorrow night we're covering the Cycling Time Trials 10 on the V718. 8 o'clock Central European Time. I'll be there covering the whole event. It's only about 30 minutes in length, so come along. Enjoy the broadcast. And then on Tuesday we have our first Team 3R group ride of the week. So looking forward to that as well. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you, Lou, for running these rides. I've really enjoyed this weekend. I did both Saturday and Sunday, and very, very much enjoyed them. Topped out my weekend perfectly. So I'll say good night. Thanks, everybody.